Family, good morning. It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. Get active inside the comment box. Welcome to Monday's show. It is February 23rd. Thank you so much for joining us on Wake Up Bama this morning. If you caught the AM podcast, and I started off with highlighting the United States men's hockey team as they defeated Canada on Sunday by a score of 2-1 off a very exciting and thrilling and memorable golden goal to win its first hockey gold medal in 46 years. It was my first time calling a hockey game. We talked about it on the Undefeated, if we should do this. It was an experimental process, and we went for it. We had a large community, much larger than I anticipated, and I have to tell you, it was pretty surreal watching United States beat Canada. And I would love to become closer to hockey, truth be told. I've always kind of toyed around, with kind of finding a team, and I like hockey. It's always enjoyable. I mean, I've kind of had a love for hockey since Blades of Steel way back when it came out. I don't know. Someone look up the date. When did it come out? So yesterday, watching the United States men's hockey team beat Canada, it was great. I mean, 3 periods were super exciting, but it wasn't enough, right? And it had to go into an extra period where it was 3-on-3. And it was a golden goal. And it was Jack Hughes right here on the left after having his teeth knocked out, right? Draped in the American flag. I mean, what a shot. It was, that's probably one of the best photos, sports photos, and will go down as one of the best all time, right? So the United States reels off an incredible victory, and they beat Canada. Who was anybody on the watch along yesterday? And I think like a moment in time like this, and why I kind of lead off with this is I like things that kind of tie people together. And when you kind of look to the Olympics, and I kind of got Olympic fever kind of late in the Olympics, and I should have watched more of it. I don't know, whatever it was, but I think like those type of victories are country binding. Right? It's just like you drape a flag over yourself. You're just, everybody's on the same team. It's exciting. And seeing them able to beat Canada, which is clearly a hockey rival, made it a little bit bittersweet. So I know this was a completely different victory from 1980, but 46 years later, good to see it. And America had a really good showing actually in the Winter Olympics, right? As you kind of look to what America did. I mean, you go back to the women's hockey team who also beat Canada by a score of 2-1, and that game was also very dramatic in how that game ended, and the women take home the gold as well. I think in total, the United States finished out with 12 gold medals, right? I think that's it. I do have a graphic here coming up, and I think they finished second in total medals underneath Norway, who walked away with the most medals in the Winter Olympics, right? You have Alyssa Liu, who won the gold medals, the first woman to win a gold medal in figure skating since 2002, right? I mean, that's a long time ago, right? I mean, that's quite a achievement as well. So you kind of look to the historical performances in hockey. It was certainly memorable stuff. First time in 46 years for men's hockey. First time since 2002 for women's figure skating. And, United States is always going to show up, whether it's summer and winter. And I think as it came to a close yesterday, you look back and you're like, wow. Right. I always have so much like admiration for all these people who are in the Olympics. I mean, not only are they just simply the best in the world, but all the time that they put into these sports. You put in time into anything, it means something to you. But to watch it on a stage like that, certainly amazing. Here is Norway finishing out with 41 total medals. The United States finishing out with 33, followed by the Netherlands. I guess it should actually be Italy. In terms of medals, they had 30 medals, and then Germany, but it looks like the Netherlands had 10 gold medals, United States with 12 gold medals, and then, Norway had 18 gold medals, right? So that's kind of how it shakes out, and we put a close to the Winter Olympics, and now we kind of turn towards, what do we have? We have the World Cup coming up, right? The World Cup is coming up as well, which should be great. I love. Do you watch the World Cup? Do we do soccer watch-alongs here when the United States plays? I don't know. Is that the next thing that's coming? I think in hindsight, looking at the hockey watch-along, it was great because we had just did a watch-along the previous night for basketball. And I'm telling you, nobody was on. And the game was like, it was so frustrating to watch because there was a foul every single possession. Literally, foul over here, foul over here. And it didn't get going. Watching hockey, it was nonstop action from the jump. So I'd love to see it, and United States has an amazing showing. Let's see who is up in the crib tonight or this morning on Bama Football on YouTube. We have 40 people on the show. 40 people. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, you 40, for being here. We have Young C. Good morning. I really appreciate you. We have Bruce Williams. Thank you very much, Bruce. What's going on, man? We have Max Tooney. It looks like this font is big. This is like, which is fine with me. I mean, it's easy on the eyeballs. We have, let's see, Cody. We have Cody. Good morning to you. We have Crystal Jones. Crystal, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We got Justin, RTR. We got Chris from New Jersey. You got the email right as the show started, man. Thank you so much for sending an email this morning about the snow. It looks like a lot of snow. We have Anna out in Atlanta. Thank you so much for being here, as always. We have, let's see, A33, perfect morning. We have Kevin. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you, bro. We have Chris G. Thank you very much for being here this morning on the program. JB777, what's up, bro? Thank you so much, man. And Wade's World, he says, Chris, top of the morning. Yeah, top of the morning. That's always a good one, right? So thank you very much for being here. And the Olympics come to a close. And I think we're like 2 weeks out of spring football. So I don't know if you guys caught Wake Up Bama. If you did, we started talking about position previews. And I think it should lead up kind of perfectly if we started our position previews today, which we did with quarterbacks. And I'm probably going to recut that video today and play it here later on at 12 p.m. just as an individual video. So if you want to watch the quarterback, if you missed it or whatever, I'm going to upload it individually. And I think it's a pretty good quarterback preview, right? And I think it poses a lot of questions about Austin Mack and about Keelan Russell. And I think when you look to this quarterback competition, it's one competition that is a true competition. I think in the past, we've kind of said it was a competition, but we knew who the guy was going to be. In this particular situation, you have two quarterbacks coming in that I think can get the job done. And you have Austin Mack, who has experience being within the program. And you have Keelan Russell, who has incredible upside. And we don't know how high that upside is. I mean, from what we've seen, from what we understand, I mean, this is the future of the Alabama quarterback position. But I don't think that we can just overlook or toss aside Austin Mack and what he brings from a physical stature standpoint. This is a man that is 6'6", 235 pounds, who has an arm that is like a cannonball. And I feel that, unfortunately, and maybe this goes without saying, but I don't think like the nation really has given either of these quarterbacks a look. I think they're waiting to see how these quarterbacks do fare. And I get that from, some point. But, this is Alabama. Like, it's not going to be like we don't have a quarterback that produces, okay? Now, we're going to nitpick every single thing that these quarterbacks do. And if they throw an interception, it's going to equal 7 interceptions on the national scene. And they're going to be highly criticized. But I'll tell you what, they have each of these guys brings special attributes to the team. And I think when you look to specifically Austin Mack, let me ask you, like if Austin Mack wins the job, I mean, do you feel that he can get the job done? And I know the majority of people, probably 80, 90% of people want Keelan Russell to start. But if they give Austin Mack the keys, do you think that he can drive this offense? Do you feel that he can do it? I mean, to be honest, I think as of Monday, February 23rd, I probably have Austin Mack as the number one quarterback, right? Now, those are going to be rankings that always change, and they're going to be fluid rankings as we go into spring football. I mean, we have 1 day of spring football, 2, 3, 4 days, their first scrimmage. We're going to get feedback. We're going to understand which quarterback is operating at the higher level, which quarterback is taking care of the football. And you know what? Those rankings are going to be absolutely meaningless, in my opinion, even coming out of spring football, because I think we'll kind of get out of practice. They'll go into summertime. And then when they come back for practice in August, I think that the quarterback competition is just going to continue. And I was asking you all inside the comment box on Wake Up Bama this morning, do you feel that this quarterback competition kind of goes into the season? I do. I don't think that this quarterback competition is just going to be solved in week 1 against Eastern Carolina, right? I think those first 5 games, Alabama should have the edge in those games that they're playing, to where I'm not saying they two platoon, but I think they're going to have opportunities for each of those quarterbacks to be able to see who can move the offense more effectively, who can operate in the red zone more effectively, who takes care of the ball, who has that playmaking ability. And look, there's nothing wrong with having a quarterback competition that takes a little bit longer to be solved, because you need to have everything in order by week 1. But that back end of the schedule, when Georgia comes to town, thereafter, everything needs to be buttoned up, because that schedule is absolutely brutal. That next 4-game stretch where you got Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, and I don't know, there's someone else. It's A&M. Are you kidding me? Like, if they don't have it figured out by that point in time, that could be problematic. But I think they will. And they're going to give these quarterbacks enough time to have that opportunity. Now, while Keelan Russell might be slightly behind, it's just an experience thing. I don't think it's a talent thing at all. I think that he has shown in the small opportunities that he has something special about him. I talked about what Ryan Grubb said about Keelan Russell specifically, and he said something that always has stood into my mind, and he says that he has wide vision of the field, right? He's not just a one-read type quarterback. I think he has a wide vision, and I think he has playmaking ability. You put those two things together, it equals a guy who's going to play on Sundays, clearly. I think when you talk about Austin Mack and going back to some of the things that Ryan Grubb said about him, I think that Ryan Grubb specifically said that, he's got an absolute cannon, and he has the genetic makeup of an NFL-type quarterback. So I think we celebrate the quarterback competition. I don't think we turn on either of these guys. I think we support these guys, and we get behind these guys as they develop their leadership. And that may be the biggest thing too, is which guy has leadership with over the room. And I don't think anybody knows that at this point in time, right? I mean, I'm curious to see, kind of from a leadership perspective, who has a leadership factor about them. Clearly, the quarterback is always kind of a guy that you kind of look to, but I don't know, right? Hey, Robert Hell with the $20 super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for getting Monday started off nicely. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Put my heart and my soul into every single thing that we got here. All right? So thank you so much. So, you know what? Kevin says the third string guy should start. And you know what's interesting? This is like a crazy look on it. But when you look to it's perfect segue, Kevin, by the way. All right. And yeah, thank you so much on the graphic. When you look to the quarterback room, okay. Yo, Jet Damala, this guy. Okay, all 4 of these quarterbacks are here. So these quarterbacks are going to be operating in spring. And I think spring football, I would imagine the start date is either March 7th or 8th. Now, Alabama football hasn't put out like an official calendar yet. Usually they'll kind of announce that, to the media. If it's March 7th, that's a Saturday. If it's March 8th, that's a Sunday. I don't know if they start on a Saturday, a Sunday. It might be players report on the 8th, which is Sunday on March, and then they start on the 9th. I don't know, because you also have spring break, and usually how it works is they practice a couple days, then they have spring break, and then they come back, right? That's kind of generally how it's been. So as soon as that official date comes, I will, we will discuss that in terms of the date that it starts. Now, when you look to the quarterback room, we've gone over it several different times, how we feel about the room, our excitement about the room. And you look to the quarterbacks outside of the two vying for the starting position. You got Jet Tamala and Taden Kawa, right? Each of those guys coming in for their freshman season. Now, the first thing that stands out, and I don't even have another quarterback on the board that's currently a walk-on, but you notice the size, right? All these guys are bigger than the quarterbacks that we've had in the past. If I was to put up a walk-on quarterback, John Gazaniga, he's 6'7", 255 pounds, right? Probably one of the bigger quarterbacks in the entire country. But I think if you look to that room, it's much bigger. The guys are much bigger than the quarterbacks that the last regime had, right? Bigger than guys like Jalen Hurts, bigger than guys like Tua Tagovailoa, bigger than guys like Bryce Young. Mac Jones had a little bit of size on him, but he wasn't, he's not as big as Austin. He wasn't, maybe he's kind of around maybe Jet them all. I think Mac Jones was what, like 6'2", 6'3", maybe? Now, when Mac Jones played here, it was interesting because I think they had him at like 235 pounds. He had a big old belly on him. But I think that was by design. I think Sark, if I remember correctly, in 2020 wanted him to play with kind of that added weight. Remember his girlfriend was always bringing him cookies? Do you all remember this? It was the craziest thing. They showed him without his shirt on, and it was like, whoa. But he got the job done. Shooting, he won a natty. But this is the thing, and I think when you look to the quarterback room, we can't lose sight of these younger guys coming in as well. Jet Tamala is going to be overshadowed, okay? And the reason is because all the eyeballs are on Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. Keelan Russell is going to garner all the attention from everybody else. He's a 5-star, right? He's got it, clearly. I'm just telling you, don't sleep on Tamala. Like, he's got it. And I think he's going to display that sooner than later. He's got the size. In fact, I think we might need to change this weight. I think Tamala he might be up to like 225 pounds. I'm going to write that down to double check on that. But I think he's added a lot of weight already. So you're looking at a quarterback. He got here, in December? And I think he's already put on I need to update that weight. I think he's like at 225 pounds. And they'll kind of update some heights and weights, and I'm sure, Keelan is probably over 200 pounds. I don't know what he's going to play at, but Tamala, you guys feeling Tamala inside the comment box? Like, yo, I'm telling you, someone said Chris has him as his dark horse. This guy can play. So I don't know if you know this, but I used to work for the Elite 11 before I did this. Well, I've had a bunch of different jobs. Not really, but I worked in different places, right? And I used to work for the Elite 11. The Elite 11 is the most polished, quarterbacks in the entire country. And I did this many years ago, but I still have contacts there. So I reached out and I asked them about Jet Tamala specifically. And they couldn't say enough positive things. They said this is probably one of the better quarterbacks that they've had in a while. And of course, Keelan Russell went out there and won the Elite 11 award. We've had past quarterbacks, for years, right, go out to an incredible event like the Elite 11 and showcase, right? But this is they understand quarterbacks at the highest level, and Tamala, they didn't have, anything negative to say about him. So can't wait to see what he can bring. And I think kind of the unknown factor is what is Taden Kawa bringing to the table, because nobody is talking about him at all, right? And I think when you look at him, he's probably bigger than 220 pounds as well. I think he's probably closer to 230, 240 pounds. That's another 6'6", 240-pound quarterback that is on the roster. That's a big man. And I every single time that I watch his tape or I bring up his tape, he's very comparable actually to Austin Mack. Now, the only thing that I don't know about Kawa is what his athleticism is. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how he can navigate in the pocket. And that's kind of the one criticism that I might have about Austin Mack, and that might be positive criticism, as I'm like, yo, how does he move around, right? And I talked about that on Wake Up Bama. I was like, does he have an ability to make you miss? Can he be shifty enough? I don't know, right? I think Keelan Russell, I've seen it a little bit in his high school film. He had to evade some defenders and, still was able to keep his eyes downfield and make some big throws. But when they were playing Indiana, and I know that's a tough comparison because it's Indiana, Austin Mack, that was kind of the thing. They kept on wrapping him up, and he wasn't able to kind of move out of there. It didn't seem like he had an elite ability to make things happen in the pocket. Now, that was a small assessment against the national championship type team. So I don't know, but that's just a quick assessment. So those are the things that I'm watching for and kind of having my ears in tune for as you start to hear the offensive coordinator talk about his quarterbacks and what they need to work on and where they are excelling. Because it's like, are you going to be shocked when he's like, yeah, he has a laser for an arm? You're like, wow, shocker. How is he moving around the pocket, and how is he growing in that area? Because against Indiana, it looked like there was some times where he wasn't able to do that. What type of growth have you seen there in terms of his side-to-side mobility? So that is the quarterback room. Does anybody have, is your guy inside the comment box? Is it still Keelan Russell? It's fine. It's fair to talk about the quarterbacks. Is anybody inside the comment box thinking that Austin Mack gets the first start against Eastern Carolina? I mean, on February 23rd, not knowing anything, haven't even seen the team practice in spring, I would say, yeah. I'd be like, yeah, I think Austin Mack probably gets the start against Eastern Carolina. But does he remain the starter for the season? I think it's yet to be seen. And the other thing that I keep talking about is I think this is going to be the first time under DeBoer here at Alabama that we have two quarterbacks play a significant amount of time through the first 5 games. So I don't think we've seen what we've seen in the past, and that's just, Milroe, the entire season, never come out. Ty Simpson, get in, never come out, right? I think you're going to see quarterbacks play, get opportunities to earn the job, which they should, right? Because that's what Keelan Russell needs. He needs experience. He just needs game experience. And I think once he has game experience, and you can't get game experience, in my opinion, from spring practice, right? They're not even going to have an A-day. It's going to be just a practice, right? But I do like the room. And I guess another wild card is the quarterback coach. We have 53 on this morning. Thank you so much. Our 53 faithful, right? Man, almost to 60. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I appreciate it. All right. Earlier today, Alabama announced that they will be playing Georgia State. Okay, this is for the home opener in 2028. Okay, so in 2028, Alabama will take on Georgia State. You're going to see these high-profile games continue to go away. You're not going to have a big kickoff game against an Ohio State or against, I don't know, any sort of Big Ten team. Those are all out the door because teams have understood that you have to schedule like Notre Dame, right? The SEC is too talented to just play, to play 9 SEC games. And then on top of that, right, also play Ohio State, other teams that could potentially threaten you. You don't want games like that because Alabama, out of all programs in the country, they're put in the worst spot. You have to play the keys for Alabama to get into the playoffs are pretty easy, right? You have Alabama and they have prerequisites, and Alabama might be the only team that has prerequisites, in my opinion. But Alabama has to, they have to reach the SEC title game. Alabama has to be able to run the football. Alabama can't have any the teams that they play who are top 50 to 100. They have to win those games by 40 plus. Teams that are marginally good, they have to win those games by 14. If they don't hit those qualifications, the seating committee holds things against them. For example, this Ohio State game that is still on the schedule for September 9th, they're going to drop this game probably today, if not later this week, if not next week, the week after. That game is not going to take place. There is no, and we've talked about this before, there is no reason to play Ohio State for Alabama. It's a 0-win situation. It actually helps out Ohio State more. And which is crazy because Ohio State is still up there, in terms of the top football teams. But it's if Alabama wins against Ohio State, they're going to be it was a close game. You know, it was a close game. And if Ohio State beats Alabama, it'll be like, Ohio State, you see? Alabama can't even beat Ohio State anymore. It's not the same thing. They can't win without Coach Saban. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's Ohio State. It's a coin flip game. But they won't look at it that way, right? So it penalizes Alabama. In Ohio State, if they lose to Alabama, they'll be, well, they lost to Alabama. You know, it's okay. They'll still dominate the Big Ten. And chances are that Ohio State in 2028, I don't even have to look at their schedule, but their schedule is probably trash. Because outside of 4 teams in the Big Ten, all the other teams are absolutely terrible. They are. So, like, you need the game against, who is it, Georgia State? Georgia State, okay. Then you play UT Martin. Perfect. Then that's a great setup. You play Oklahoma State, but you have to remember, you have to beat this Oklahoma State team by about, 14 to three scores. Okay? To solidify the committee member, right? The committee member is going to be like, well, a couple years ago, Oklahoma State was one of the worst teams in college football. Bama only beat them by 3 touchdowns. I don't know if they're a playoff team, right? I'm serious. It makes no sense to play games like that. So I would imagine this Ohio State kind of home and home gets washed out, right? Do you guys agree with me? Is there any reason to play like one of these top tier teams anymore? I don't think there is. And it might work for other programs, but not for Alabama because Alabama is still held to such a higher standard, right? All right. 60 on. Holy cow. All right. All right. Basketball is taking place on Wednesday night, okay? You have Alabama taking on Mississippi State. You take on, LeBaron Philon. The only problem with this basketball team is I have never there's a few things that like grievances that I have with them. And the only thing is, it seemed like the basketball team, these guys, they can get hurt so easily. Every guy on the roster has an ankle, an arm, a finger. It's like all these guys are always hurt. LeBaron Philon, he's a little bit banged up, bruised up, or whatever it is. So his performance in the last game against LSU, I guess he wasn't 100%. But my God, am I right? It's incredible that these guys, are still at this point. They're still doing well despite all the injuries that they've had. LeBaron Philon scoring 21.3 points a game. He had over 30 against Arkansas, and then, didn't really see too much of him against LSU. I guess he was injured. Amari Allen is probably the most underrated player in the SEC. Amari Allen he's outstanding. This guy, I'm telling you, it's a different team without him, right? Carl Moore, what's up, bro? I appreciate you being here. And then Philon down here with assists as well. But I'll tell you what, you always need a couple guys on the roster that are, outside of kind of the expected ones. We have really good guard play, right? Really good guard play. Like everybody knows that. Holloway, Philon, Mari Allen, right? They've been rolling with Jemison lately. Like we have Bethea that we saw a little bit just recently. But like these two specific players, I think absolutely tie into the reason that Alabama has won their last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of the last 8 games, right? And I think it has to do a lot with these two particular players, right? You got Aiden Sherrill on the left and you got Houston Millett on the right. And I'll start with talking about Aiden Sherrill. I think that everything that happened with Bediako, clearly, I'm glad that that's over, right? And I don't even really like to talk about it anymore, but I think it was kind of a turning point for where this Alabama basketball team has turned. That during that stretch, not only were they facing adversity from like the national media, I think it was probably challenging for these guys to, kind of block out that type of noise, support, a teammate at that time, Bediako, and then also have somebody just added to the roster that wasn't there during the beginning of the season. So it kind of took away fluidity of what Alabama basketball was trying to accomplish at that point in time. And, it was an experiment that ultimately didn't work out. But I think with these two particular players kind of there after that, they've really turned it up. And now I know Mallette, he's always had a motor. But let's talk about Sherelle first. You lose a big, and that was one of the biggest issues that I have with Alabama basketball is I don't think they're overly physical inside. And when they play teams like Tennessee, Florida, Arizona, Purdue, they're going to struggle with those teams because they can't challenge you underneath the basket. That's my take. That's why my wish is that they still had Mo Diabate. I think he gave him a little bit of muscle down low as opposed to like Bo Bolin, who we got. He's more of a perimeter player, right? A little bit light. But Sherelle over the last couple games, he's turned it up, right? He's coming off back-to-back performances where he's had double-doubles. He's been much better in terms of rebounding. He's been much better in terms of playing underneath the basket. Now, I still think he gets challenged and, guys are stronger than him, but he's doing a better job, and he's being that guy that Alabama basketball needs him to be, right? Can we agree on that? Like Aiden Sherelle, he's playing like he's playing fantastic basketball right now. Now that has to sustain, right? And because if he goes out behind him, there's nobody else. Okay, he's the big, and that's it. Because there's a big gap between Aiden Sherelle and Noah Williamson. There is. I'm talking about a Grand Canyon, difference. And that's it. You can put Noah Williamson in, and it's tough because you want to root for your guys, right? But you also have to be honest in your evaluation of the team. And you take Aiden Sherelle out, and you put Noah Williamson in, I'm going right to the basket. I'm challenging you from the minute you put him in, right? On the other side, you have Houston Mallette. And every team needs somebody like this. This is a guy. Oh, man, I didn't even talk about Ricel. Ricel's another guy. I think the guards on this team are crazy good. But you got a guy like Mallette. And he'll get minutes. He had, 22 minutes against LSU or whatever. But this guy has something to where, you need to start a fire. He's kind of that matchstick. He is. And against Arkansas, you needed some big threes. He came up with them. Daggers. Right? Against LSU in a game that was just pitiful to watch, you needed some rebounds. You needed just a little bit of a spark just to get the hell out of there, right? And boom, you got him with 2 rebounds. He's the type of guy that certainly gets momentum for Alabama. You know what? And I said this before, but I think if you take Mallette off this team, they're a worse team. You take Bediako off, and you're like, man, too bad, could have been. You take Mallette off the team, they're a worse team. Because I don't think there's another guy that's a match, stick like him. So when you see 95 come in, and the thing is, I'll say this too, Mallette has a green light. They tell him, you get the ball, shoot it. This guy is going to shoot 8 threes a game by himself. And he might be 1 of 8, but that one shot will come in a time that is certainly needed, right? I don't think he's the best 3-point shooter on the team at all. I think he's streaky, but he's clutch, right? And what's better, I don't know. Being clutch because you have other guys that can hit shots from the perimeter, right? Hey, mostly, but I appreciate it, man. I think it's been to be honest, I think this show has been amazing. Wish we could get it out more, 62 viewers. I'm like, damn, only 62. But, can't control that. I can only control my performance. So you look to Alabama's back end. I knew this would happen. I've been calling this for weeks. I figured kind of after that Florida game where you kind of took the L, looking at the rest of the schedule, you got A&M, Auburn, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Arkansas, and LSU. Those are teams that you should have. The Arkansas one, that Arkansas team, I'm picking them to win a lot of games in March Madness. That I was so impressed with that. I can't stop thinking about Akert. That dude is a monster, right? Patriot Life, what's up, bro? I see you inside the comment box. Thank you so much. LSU is pesky. 2-12, and that's just SEC basketball on the road, right? So you got Mississippi State on Wednesday, and then on Saturday you got another matchup with Tennessee. Tennessee is going to be a tall task just because they play half-court basketball and they're a big physical team. They are. That Tennessee team has muscle. You're going to have to shoot the lights out in Knoxville. Like you're going to have to shoot the absolute lights out, right? So tough 2 games coming up. Dude, Young C, A-Cuff and Richmond, bro, the dynamite duo. And they have the other guy, Thomas, right? Thomas or Thompson. That guy was 6 of 8 from three-point line against Alabama. Sharpshooters, bro. That was in Coleman Coliseum. Man, those guys, woof. Man, that team was so good. Alabama right now, second in the SEC. Second in a 3-way tie with Arkansas and Tennessee. All right, it's going to be one hell of a SEC tournament. Alabama has a lot of momentum. 20-7 on the season. Also, same thing as Arkansas and Tennessee. A&M and Vanderbilt, kind of those next 2 teams down there as well. But, yeah, SEC basketball is SEC basketball. This team is really good. But I think overall in college basketball, and I know we kind of watched the Duke and Michigan game, together the other night, I would probably have, Duke, Arizona. I have Arizona as my top team. So Arizona, Duke, I guess Michigan. Houston's got to be up there. I think Florida's a really good basketball team as well. So, really good teams out there. And there's a big separation. I think you have those top 5 teams, and there's a huge gap. I do have Alabama probably, I think the last time we saw them being ranked at like a 4 seed or something like that. That's fine. They're going to be a dangerous team. Do I have them going to the Elite 8, to the Final 4? That might be a stretch for me, and I know that might be disappointing to hear. That might be kind of reverse rat poison for their room if they play this, but I don't know. We'll see. It's going to depend on and we know exactly what Alabama is, how they're going to what it's going to depend on. You know what I'm saying? So we'll figure it out, and, we'll keep track of Alabama basketball as we go forward. All right. Want to thank our sponsor, which is, of course, Sleeper, right? You download the app, get $20 just by downloading the app. The promo code is Tailgate. Terms and conditions apply, available in 25 states. And you have to realize that past performance is not indicative of future results. But the promo code to use is Tailgate, okay? And then they've added a new feature, which I absolutely love, which is the team pick. So you can bring up the graphics, and you can see, for example, this was last week where you had Arkansas and Alabama, just to kind of give you a visual of what they have in store. And you can kind of look at it from that perspective and look at, the team picks. So certainly check it out, and, we'll support Sleeper the best that we can. All right. So I appreciate you guys for being here on today's show. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Monday broadcast right here on Bama Football on YouTube. News as it happens. And, we will cover the news as it happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. So getting closer and closer to spring football. I like I said, probably like March 8th or March 9th. We'll take calls tomorrow on Tuesday. And Chris, I'll show that picture that you sent in on tomorrow's show. Chris's backyard is seriously like, how many inches do you have? Right? It's like 10 inches of snow or something like that. New York City, I saw, was buried. 100%. Thanks, Jarvis. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for hanging with us today. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your Monday. Again, I'm going to cut up that quarterback video individually so you can watch that. It'll probably be replayed around like 12:30, something like that. So have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for following, and I appreciate you guys. Have a beautiful day. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on this beautiful Monday, February